Welcome to the wonderful world of blood donation. Around the world, giving blood is seen as a symbol of generosity, one of the noblest acts in modern society. But the reality is different altogether.
Healthcare is the perfect money-making industry. Our willingness to pay for available therapies, basically, especially for our loved ones, knows no bounds.
At the heart of this business, plasma, a yellow liquid rich in proteins. It's the main component of blood. It's more expensive than oil.
C'est l'exploitation de l'homme par l'homme. Le terme qui est utilisé par certains, c'est le nouveau cannibalisme. Est-ce qu'on accepte au prix d'un marchandage ce système qui permet à un individu riche de profiter du pauvre?
You know, I'm like a cow. I'll give you milk. Abomination.
It almost killed me, so I don't want to do that no more.
No, c'est dégueulasse.
We decided to explore a little-known area within the health industry, the blood trade. Our investigation took us to France, Germany, and the US.
They don't like us to interview their donors.
Yeah, man, you know why? They doing something they ain't doing right. They need to stop it. Public want to know.
Today, Carlos is donating blood. Despite his busy job, he's a regular blood donor at the Red Cross Center in Lausanne. Carlos sees his act as a sign of commitment to the community. More than 100 million donations are collected each year worldwide. In 2015, the Swiss Red Cross registered 311,000 donations. The figure diminishes each year, and they're constantly seeking new donors. Their message is clear: giving blood saves lives.
C'est important pour moi de venir parce que je sais que je peux aider des malades. C'est vraiment le point important pour moi. C'est ma façon de pouvoir aider des gens. Oui, c'est possible. Mais plus qu'à gauche, à droite? C'est égal. Alors, est-ce que j'ai une idée? Et je vous bascule un petit peu en arrière.
Je trouve que c'est quand même quelque chose de beau de pouvoir donner quelque chose, en tout cas qui est une partie de soi-même.
Je vous mets à 16 heures, et puis vous venez quand vous pouvez, il n'y a pas de souci.
Blood is a quite peculiar juice, said Faust's devil with glee, but he's not the only one to be interested. Health is also an industry, and blood donations are subject to the laws of the market.
Voilà, ça coule bien. C'est tout bon.
Merci.
Et je vais chercher le jus de raisin.
Oui, volontiers.
Before giving blood, these Swiss donors must complete a medical questionnaire and give their informed consent. In particular, there is one line at the end of the form, a sentence in small letters. I am aware that some components of my donation may be used for the production of drugs. Only a few donors read this line, though it's crucial. In reality, most of the donated blood is sold to private companies, something the Red Cross doesn't advertise.
Wir erhalten etwa 320.000 Blutspenden pro Jahr. Das sind Vollblutspenden, das heißt, in diesen Blutspenden sind natürlich alle Bestandteile drin, auch das Plasma.
Okay, und was machen Sie mit Blutplasma?
Im Gegensatz zu den anderen Blutbestandteilen ist es beim Plasma so, dass nur etwa 20% dieser Menge direkt in den Spitälern gebraucht werden. In den Spitälern gebraucht heißt für Patienten, die einen großen Blutverlust haben und dieses Volumen ersetzt halten müssen. Der restliche Anteil, das sind fast 80%, geht in die sogenannte Fraktionierindustrie. Das sind Firmen, die daraus stabile Blutprodukte und Medikamente herstellen.
The plasma fractionation industry. These are the pharmaceutical companies that buy 80,000 liters of plasma from the Red Cross each year. The humanitarian institution makes nearly 10 million Swiss francs from this sale. Are the donors aware of it?
Qu'est-ce que vous savez sur ce que va devenir le sang que vous venez de donner?
Bien, je dois dire que je suis plutôt innocent par rapport à ça. Je me renseigne pas énormément par rapport à ce genre de choses. Quand j'entends le mot don du sang, eh bien, c'est le fait que je vais donner de mon sang. Et puis après, ce que ce sang va devenir, eh bien, j'ose espérer qu'il soit utilisé dans les hôpitaux qui sont pas très loin de chez nous. Donc c'est un peu l'image que j'ai, moi, du don du sang. C'est une image un peu innocente.
First discovery, the majority of the donor's blood is sold to pharmaceutical industries. The industry is so interested in Carlos's blood for a specific reason. Its liquid part, called plasma, contains sought-after proteins. They are used to make very expensive and profitable drugs. Who are the players behind this industry? We decided to track the plasma trade.
Welcome to CSL Plasma. Typically, 57% of our blood volume is made up of plasma. Plasma is a straw-colored liquid portion of the whole blood that transports water and nutrients to all cells in the body. It is composed of approximately 90% water and 10% protein.
The plasma industry is huge, and a handful of companies share the world market. Baxter in the USA, CSL Behring in Australia, Grifols in Spain, and the company Octapharma in Switzerland, which we discover through these promotional films.
Octapharma's raw material is produced by the perfect bioreactor, developed over millions of years of evolution, the human body.
For these companies, plasma is nothing but a raw material, and very lucrative too. The professional term is fractionation, the name of the procedure that transforms donors' plasma into drugs. To do this, they collect, freeze, and mix thousands of liters of human plasma. These companies control a market which is worth $17 billion and growing steadily. Wolfgang Marger, the president and co-founder of Octapharma, is a very discreet person. Forbes estimates his fortune at $6 billion. This is one of his very rare public appearances.
How do you see the future developing?
These products are life-saving drugs, and they will be required for some patient groups as a lifelong therapy.
And presumably they're covered by most insurance companies.
Yes, they have to be, as they're very expensive. But that is also the other part of the same coin. There are many countries who simply cannot afford to provide this kind of level of treatment to their population, yet at least. And it sounds easy when you say, well, plasma should be available enough. You just go to your population, your country, you collect the plasma, and then you will be in good shape and you make those products. That's not the case.
Now a truly global organization, Octapharma remains a family business dedicated to always going further to empower more patients to go further in their life adventure.
Throughout the world, the lives of millions of patients depend on these treatments. Tamara is one of them. Today, she's receiving her treatment at a hospital in Bern. Since childhood, she suffers from an immune deficiency that causes repeated infections.
Hallo, Fred. Morgen. Ja. Ja.
Thanks to her plasma-based treatment, Tamara's life has become easier. So much so that it would be difficult for her to go without.
Bevor ich die Infusion bekommen habe, konnte ich mir sicher etwa 2 Jahre nie sagen, ja, ich bin gesund oder es geht mir gut. Und das hat sich das schon verändert, jetzt rein auf die Infektionen bezogen. Ich komme alle 3 Wochen hierher, also die Infusion bekommen. Ja. Und es geht dann einfach pro Mal geht es ca. 3 bis 4 Stunden. Also es sind eigentlich Immunglobulin. Also sprich eigentlich wie, also das ist ein wichtiger Teil der Immunabwehr, die man hat. Und die Antikörper, die man selber nicht produzieren kann, werden einfach von außen zugeführt.
Mhm. Gut.
Also ich arbeite in einer Apotheke und darum kenne ich so ein bisschen die Preise. Und die grosse Flasche ist glaube ich um die 1500 Franken und die kleinere ist so um die 1000.
Also total heute
ist ca. 4000 Franken. Also ich bin um jede Frau, die geht Blut spenden, natürlich nicht nur wegen unseren Medikamenten, sondern allgemein. Und ja, ich mache die Leute immer wieder ein bisschen darauf aufmerksam. Also wir sind halt dort ein bisschen eben, im Verwandtenkreis oder so, oder ja, bist schon Blutspenden oder vor allem bei Bekannten das mal wieder heute ansprechen. Weil ja, ich glaube, die Leute muss man ein bisschen sensibilisieren auf das.
Where is her life-changing drug from? Where is the blood in the drug from? From Swiss donors?
Denken Sie, das kommt aus Schweizer Blutplasma?
Auch nicht. Ich weiß nicht. Ich habe gesagt nein. Oder nicht nur.
The plasma's origin isn't public information. It's a trade secret. We decide to visit Swissmedic. This is the Swiss authority in charge of drug control, including their origins. These experts analyze plasma samples each week, as well as the blood-derived products that are used in hospitals.
Et ça, c'est du Plasma.
Ja, das sind Plasmapools. Also in jedem Röhrchen ist eine Aliquote eines Plasmapools. Im Rahmen der behördlichen raschen Plasmapool-Testung müssen uns die Firmen auch diese Pool-Aliquotes einreichen, wo wir dann die Tests eben auf HIV, Hepatitis B, Hepatitis C durchführen.
Mhm. Est-ce qu'on peut regarder d'où viennent ces lots de plasma? De quel pays?
Wir können das nachschauen, ja.
Ouais.
Ja. Mais c'est pas pour le film.
On peut pas filmer la page?
Non.
Ok.
Parce que das gehört der Firma. Also das ist ein Gesuch.
Ce document appartient à la firme.
Ah, ouais. Okay. Es ist ein Gesuch um Plasmapoolprüfung und hier sehen Sie nun verschiedene Pools aufgelistet, Herkunftsland der Spenden.
USA.
Und jetzt nehmen wir diese Nummer, das ist die CU 1445.
Kansas City, Chattanooga, Lansing,
Und
Louisville.
da sieht man jetzt, wie viele Spenden aus welchem Zentrum stammen.
C'est bizarre.
Ja, und alle diese Zentren, die sind im Plasma Master File zugelassen von Swissmedic. Daher dürfen sie jetzt bei uns eingereicht werden in den Pools zur Prüfung.
Cleveland, West 25th Street. 48 donneurs.
Cleveland, United States.
Okay.
We decided to travel there. West 25th Street, the address listed in Swissmedic's register. Some of the plasma used in the drugs sold in Switzerland comes from here. This blood collection center belongs to the Australian company CSL. Donate plasma, save lives. Earn up to $200 a month. There are donor ads everywhere which tell us that the volunteers are paid for their blood. As opposed to most European countries, the USA allows compensation for blood donations. This practice is legal. We enter the premises, which are under heavy surveillance, impossible to speak with the staff.
Yeah, you can't just come and take pictures. You got to do it the right way.
No, we do it from the outside, from the
Okay, across the
big
street.
space.
Across
Yeah,
the street, you can, not right, you know.
Yeah.
The center is in one of the city's poorest neighborhoods. Cleveland is a devastated city. The financial crisis of 2008 was a fatal blow. Pastor Lester Williams knows the reality of life in this neighborhood. Many of his church followers sell their plasma.
I can live without. Come on, Pastor. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you. Amen. Well, I guess it all works out. It's legal, so I don't have a problem with that if that's what people decide to do.
But what is strange is that the companies, they continue to call this a donation.
Mm-hmm.
But what is a donation when you pay someone?
It's not a donation. It's not free. That's what a donation should be. It should be free. Evidently, they're exploiting people in whatever their conditions is economically. And so it's actually not a donation. They're actually paying for it. Now, are they charging, again, I'm gonna ask you this question, are they charging Switzerland for the plasma?
Yes.
So they're making money on it in both ways. That you know, because the little that they're giving to these people is not very much.
In Cleveland, all the market leaders are represented. CSL, Grifols. We also find Octapharma, the Swiss company which produces Tamara's drug.
I like your tattoos. Man, those are cool.
Mark goes there twice a week to sell his plasma.
I'm on a budget right now where I'm on $32 for rent, $45 for the phone, $50 a month for my insurance. So I'd have to say I'm in a ballpark around $200 to $225 a month. And I found out that I can with the plasma, that's the problem when you're on tight budget. It's a fragile thing,
We wanted to go inside with him to speak with the people in charge. This turned out to be impossible. The hostility increased the closer we got to the center.
Those cameras, please. Y'all cannot have those cameras here.
All right, we're in public property.
Is this private property?
That is not.
Just following my
friend.
Okay.
So we questioned donors outside, in the parking lot.
Yeah, at first it was just kind of like an extra money thing, just to get a little money on the side, to help me with bills and stuff. And then it just kind of, I became a regular. At first, when you first start, you get $50 your first 5 times as a new customer. Then after that, on Tuesdays or Thursdays, any 2 days of the week, you get $20, and then it go up to $40.
How long have you been donating plasma?
Now for a year.
Every week?
Yep, 2 times a week.
That's a lot.
Yes, but it ain't bad. It's cool. It help out. It's good for other families. It's good for my family too in the end of it. So one hand wash the other hand.
No one does it for any kind of moral reasons. No one does it for the moral. No one does this because it helps people. It's just one of the side effects is that it helps people.
The procedure is well established. As soon as the plasma bottle is full, the donor's credit card is credited.
Here we go, right here. Now, this is the plasma blood bank card. It's almost like a regular Visa card. You know what I'm saying? They put the money on your card immediately after you get done. Sometimes they forget to put the money on your card, and you got to call that number on your card. Because if you don't call that number on your card and stuff, you're going to be without money.
After the economic crisis, donations soared in the USA, going from 15 million in 2007 to 32 million in 2014. Luke Schaefer is a sociologist at Michigan University.
When we look at the numbers of families reporting cash incomes below $2 per person per day in any given month, it well more than doubles over a 15-year period. And when we look at the number of families who are on food stamps, it actually quadruples. Emergency food assistance goes through the roof. So when all of these things are pointing in the same direction, so we walked into the plasma clinic down the street and just asked people, why are you here? What's going on? People lost their jobs, haven't been able to find work. In many cases, it's going to be the only income coming into the household. It's their only option.
We rejoined Mark at the entrance to the center. It didn't work out the way he wanted. The center refused him because his blood pressure was too high.
I wasn't able to donate today. my blood, and that's very important because I take my blood pressure medication, and I think I ate bad yesterday.
But then, if you can't donate, it's a financial issue for you.
It is. Luckily, it's not life or death. It kind of has to do with not as vital stuff. So, but I might have to ask a friend for a loan. Just for, I mean, I'll take care of it soon, and I'll be able to get my blood pressure straightened out, and that's why it is good for me to keep track of that.
We accompanied him to a small subsidized apartment that he's been living in for a year.
Come on in and make yourself at home. When I had my stroke, it was about 3 years ago, I went into the doctors. To be quite honest, I was drinking a lot, I was doing drugs, and I was combining a lot of bad stuff, So the next day I went to the Cleveland Clinic, which is one of our really good hospitals in Cleveland. And the word with people that don't have a lot of money is you get rated. And when you get rated, it means you can basically go there for free and get health care. And as we're qualifying, the lady doing it, she's like, oh yeah, you're way below poverty level. I'm like, way below? There's below and there's way below. So that was an eye-opener. There are times when, for my own self-esteem, I don't want to accept help. I want to be able to say, no thanks, but no thanks. Doing Octapharma is kind of easy money, and it's necessary. At least for me, it's necessary.
Down on these hairy balls, why don't you jump right in? It's a crotch party right up in here.
For Mark and many other Americans, blood is his last source of income. If he got sick, he could no longer donate. He'd have no income. But all these blood donations are affecting his health. David Margolis is a doctor in one of the city's largest public hospitals.
Yeah, Metro Health is the safety net system for Cleveland. We take care of people regardless of their ability to pay. For a lot of our patients and the people that we take care of at Metro Health, this is their one of the few strategies that they can use to get money.
What does the literature say about the long-term effects of donating plasma twice a week?
I couldn't find anything in the literature describing what the effects were. I know from talking to my patients who do donate plasma that they're tired, so they get fatigue, they have headaches. But beyond that, all I know is the Red Cross has one time a month, and these guys are doing it twice a week. Were to talk to this individual who's donating, my patient, he might not be able to afford a cell phone bill or rent, and that is more important for his health potentially than the downside effects of donating, because if he doesn't have a cell phone, he can't get a job, or he can't pay his bills, then he'll freeze. So this is the dilemma that we're in. Yeah.
What if you could earn extra money while doing something great for others? At Octapharma Plasma, you can. Not only are plasma donations vital to the treatment of rare, chronic, and genetic diseases, you could also...
The USA is the world's main exporter of human plasma with 70% of the world market. Their success is based on a foolproof recipe. By building on this type of campaign, they nurture the image of a country with excellent sanitary conditions. The market is under the supervision of the Food and Drug Administration. The FDA stamp is a guarantee of quality, opening the doors to the international market. Each week, frozen plasma is dispatched in shipments, mainly to Europe. This is the other side of the American dream. Masses of poor people willing to sell their blood. They provide an unlimited pool of primary material. We wanted to understand the conditions in which blood is collected. 7 a.m. in Cleveland, in the parking lot of Octapharma.
I can't do it no more. Best y'all ask the other people. But anyway, I blacked out. I don't want to do that no more. I just small, and I didn't eat before I went in, but it almost killed me, so I don't want to do that no more. I got a job now, praise the Lord.
Just work. I'm providing a product. You know, I'm like a cow. I'm giving you milk.
These stories illustrate the industrial pace and inadequate checks. However, Octapharma assures the authorities that there is strict donor monitoring. But if that's the case, why didn't the Swiss company let us enter? Why did they prevent us from talking to the staff? How are its donors selected? To check, we had to go and see for ourselves with a hidden camera. This is what we discover inside. Machines interrogate the donors. The volunteers answer the medical questions at electronic terminals. One single physical examination, measuring blood pressure. This is mainly to avoid the donors fainting while donating blood, which would slow down the entire chain. Not a single chair in the room is empty. An endless stream of donors with no time to recover after the donation. 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. In view of such summary checks, everything is based on what people say. Paid donations entail a certain risk. They encourage donors to lie about their health. Such compensation also attracts a high-risk population that sometimes has secrets to hide.
Yeah, like they say, like, do you have fast food people with AIDS or something? You ever been to jail? Do you ever get do you get monitored or something? Weird questions, but it's basically you all know, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a computer asking you. No, no, no. Who to say though, if I was lying when I said my tattoos was over 2 years old? It looked like it's part of the bricks, but it actually ain't. It's where they missed and it blew the vein up. Make you look like you're doing heroin or something. And, you know, like at the same time, I know people go over there, they getting the money, using it for drugs. But who am I to judge the next person? Last summer, the big thing around here is K2. And so, you know, it don't show up in, even if they was to test them for drugs, it don't show up in your urine. It's gonna give you that nice high for about 3 to 5 minutes, and then you chasing again. So, you know, you gotta wait till the next couple of days, back to Optima Plasma. It's free money. I'll give up this plasma so I can get that fix. I feel everybody wins. That's the way I see it.
The people selling drugs, they are used to this.
They love it because, simple fact, that means while Octapharma is there, even if it is somewhere else, they clientele got somewhere to go every time to make some money. Okay, listen, you give me your card, your Octaplasma card, and I'll give you a bag of Tunchi. Because I know when you go, it's gonna get loaded on there. I'm gonna make sure that you go though, because I'm not gonna take no type of losses. I'm gonna drop you off in there, I'm gonna drop you off there and make sure you get in, do your paperwork, and then I'm gonna leave, because I know I'm gonna get my money for sure. And when you done, you can come back again. We'll do the same process again.
I work hard at night. I'm under pressure in my dreams. It seems that my future.
And this is how the blood business attracts the drug business and all that goes with it. Trafficking, exploitation, health risks for the donors. Is Octapharma aware of all this? We wanted to ask them if they noticed traces of drugs in their donors' plasma. But it's still impossible to get access. Tensions rise. The security services asked us to leave, which we did. Why was our presence bothering them so much?
They don't like us to interview their donors.
Yeah, man, you know why? Because y'all doing something that they ain't doing right. Okay, I don't know what the hell's going on, but for you guys to be out here professionally with your cameras to interview this place, I mean, what do you got to hide?
We're doing a TV documentary about plasma and plasma donors.
Their complaint, they call and complain that if they felt like you were harassing the donors coming out.
Management just advised that they want you guys advised of trespassing, which means if you walk onto the parking lot, they will have their security sign charges against you guys for trespassing.
Okay, that's fine.
Very good.
That's fine.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you very much.
Back in Switzerland, there are many questions about compensation, exploitation, and concern about donors' health. Does all this affect the drugs we use? What control do we have over imported plasma? First of all, we wanted to see Tamara to show her our images.
Last summer, the big thing around here is K2. It's bad as heroin. It don't show up even if they was to test them for drugs, it don't show up in your urine.
Okay.
That's all that matters.
Wenn ihr Drogen braucht, geht ihr Plasma spenden.
Ja. Also ja, wie gesagt, ich bin auch ein bisschen geschockt. Also ja, die 2, 3 Geschichten, die sie nur machen, dass sie Geld haben, okay, ja, sie machen nichts Blödes. Aber die da mit den Drogensachen, das ist wirklich, das ist heftig.
Ja, aber es hat mich auch so beeindruckt, wie er liegen, eine Reihe um die andere, wie viele Leute das dort liegen. Das ist Wahnsinn.
Wie viele Leute das für Geld viel machen.
Ja.
Du musst dir mal vorstellen, wie das der Körper schlaucht, 2-mal in der Woche, das geht Geld.
The Swissmedic experts reassured us that the plasma for Swiss drugs didn't come from paid donors.
Also wir erhalten vom Hersteller eine ganze Dokumentation über alle Herstellungsschritte und da gibt uns an, von wo das Plasma kommt, von welchem Land und ob das bezahlte Spenden sind oder nicht. Und dann muss sie deklarieren, dass es unbezahlte Spenden sind.
Ça veut dire que ce produit vient des États-Unis de dons non rémunérés.
Genau. Wenn das heißt unbezahlte Spenden, das sind unbezahlte Spenden.
Le don rémunéré est une industrie aux États-Unis.
Ja, aber das sind nicht das Plasma, das in der Schweiz verarbeitet wird, kommt aus Spenden, die nicht bezahlt sind. Non rémunéré.
In industry terms, the money paid to donors is compensation, not payment, a play on words. In Germany, for example, donors may receive a small fee, which is limited to 3 times a month. But the fees offered in the USA are much higher, enough to let the poorest survive.
Mais on sait qu'à Cleveland, la plupart des centres de dons de plasma paient les gens pour donner leur plasma. Vous pensez vraiment que ça...
Das weiß ich nicht. Also das ist auch keine Information, die wir eigentlich prüfen. Was wir prüfen ist, ob eben die Spendezentren, die jeweils aufgeführt sind, ob die der Zulassung, also dem Plasma Masterfile entsprechen. Das ist unsere Aufgabe. Das ist nicht unsere Aufgabe.
The Plasma Master File, a several hundred-page document in which the origin of the plasma is listed. Countless technical details, but nothing about the reality. Visibly, the Swissmedic experts don't know more about it.
Vous avez déjà vu un centre de collecte de dons aux États-Unis, de CSL par exemple, ou de Octa Pharma?
Nein.
Vous savez comment ça se passe là-bas?
Nein.
Next question, please.
Does it make sense for the legislator to ask so few questions? The industry hides behind the trade secret, keeping the authorities in the dark.
Vous nous avez expliqué qu'il est possible.
The socialist congressman J.F. Stiert is an expert in the Swiss health system. He finds the pharmaceutical industry's lack of transparency unacceptable.
En général, une entreprise qui sent qu'elle commence à intéresser un peu le politique et ou les médias, soit elle se referme complètement, mais elle risque d'attirer beaucoup de soupçons, soit elle est intelligente et puis elle commence à communiquer un petit peu ses données. Il faut des fois beaucoup de pression jusqu'à ce que ça marche.
Opacity, profits, lack of monitoring. To what extent is public health at risk through this system? What threats does it pose to patients and donors? Jean-Daniel Tissot, Dean of the Faculty of Medicine of Lausanne University, has long been head of the city's blood center. Although he was generally reassuring, he pointed out the risks.
Est-ce que d'un point de vue sanitaire, il y aurait une différence entre le plasma d'un Américain pauvre et celui d'un Suisse?
Alors il n'y a aucun élément pour l'affirmer. Je ne pense pas, parce que les contrôles qui sont faits ou les techniques de préparation nous permettent de nous assurer à l'heure actuelle qu'on est capable de se débarrasser de tous les pathogènes. L'exception peut-être serait liée au prion, donc c'est cette protéine étrange qui est impliquée dans la maladie de la vache folle. Et là, les certitudes ne peuvent être mises sur la table.
Zero risk doesn't exist.
En France, un scandale à propos du sang, c'est l'événement du
As we are reminded by the scandal of contaminated blood that hit Europe, including the Swiss Red Cross and France.
Dans ces locaux, on traitait le sang collecté destiné aux transfusions, un sang que l'on disait le plus sûr du monde. Mais en 1990, le scandale éclate, les responsables du CNTS sont poursuivis et condamnés pour avoir laissé écouler durant plusieurs mois des stocks de produits contaminés par le virus du sida, provoquant ainsi la mort de plusieurs centaines d'hémophiles et de transfusés.
After the scandal, sanitary checks were increased worldwide. The plasma pools are now cleaned using methods that are said to be highly efficient.
Les solvants détergents sont parfaitement efficaces sur tous les virus les plus dangereux que sont ceux qu'on a nommés hépatite et sida. C'est assez clair.
Jean-Jacques Houard is a hematologist in Lille. He's head of the blood center for the north of France, the largest transfusion center in France. He's one of the people traumatized by the blood contamination scandal.
Il a été prouvé que la fréquence des pathologies est nettement supérieure en cas de dons rémunérés. Alors, bien sûr, les tests sont là pour éviter tout ça, mais on peut imaginer qu'un nouvel agent infectieux puisse compliquer largement le problème de l'innocuité.
There's no climbing out of that. And it's just, it makes no sense. They let people in, people are going in there just to buy drugs. And it's like, that's sad.
L'abomination. Non, c'est dégueulasse.
Today, the checks are considered effective, at least as far as known risks are concerned. But if there was a new virus slipping through, it could spread more quickly due to globalization. To reduce these risks, wouldn't the best way be for each country to produce its own plasma? That would be preferable, according to the World Health Organization.
Self-sufficiency is definitely one of the aims that WHO promotes in terms of the goal that countries are trying to get to. The goal is not self-sufficiency solely for self-sufficiency's sake. It's because systems that are self-sufficient tend to be safer and tend to provide better access. But there are many parts of the world that are not self-sufficient and have to depend on outside sources for blood donation. And so for us, it's an aim that much of the world needs to work towards, but we're not there yet.
However much the WHO may state the importance of self-sufficiency, the world market isn't following. The USA is exporting more plasma, and soon Europe won't be able to do without this cheap raw material.
In many parts of the world, they've made decisions to, and particularly in Europe, in several countries, some Scandinavian countries, France, are making decisions to basically privatize or to move into a private management of these types of donation systems.
Despite the checks being in place, the experts cannot rule out the possibility of a new virus. This fear for healthcare is a main feature of the news in France. In July 2015, Octapharma obtained the liberalization of the market. The Swiss company was authorized to sell its plasma and the drugs derived from it to all French hospitals. Until then, the French Blood Center had had the monopoly. This intrusion is worrying Michel Monsallier, the director of the powerful Federation of Volunteer Donors.
Il y a besoin de beaucoup de sang.
Oui.
Et il y en a combien qui sont faits?
Au niveau national, c'est 10 000 dons par jour.
Et je veux dire, enfin, c'est suffisant pour combler le...
Complètement.
Ok.
On est toujours autosuffisant. Ouais.
Souvent, les collègues, ils disent on n'a pas assez de sang, on a besoin de donneurs, tout ça. Enfin, moi, c'est le discours que j'entends. Il n'y a pas assez de sang, il n'y a pas assez de donneurs.
Non, c'est faux. C'est faux. Aujourd'hui, on est autosuffisant en sang et on l'a toujours été depuis les années 50. Donc, il faut toujours renouveler le stock de donneurs, entre guillemets, parce que entre le moment où vous donnez une première fois, on a 60% des donneurs qui donnent une première fois qui ne reviennent pas au deuxième don.
Et au niveau du plasma, c'est pareil, c'est...
Le plasma, on n'est pas autosuffisant pour une bonne raison, c'est que c'est un marché qui est ouvert à la concurrence.
C'est-à-dire?
C'est-à-dire que pour fabriquer des médicaments dérivés du plasma, on a des intervenants étrangers. Ces intervenants qui sont des laboratoires pharmaceutiques, qui collectent eux-mêmes le plasma en payant les donneurs.
Mais c'est illégal, ça.
En France, c'est illégal.
En tout cas, ouais.
Mais les médicaments qui sont fabriqués à partir de ce plasma
Peuvent être vendus
sont en marché libre en France. Donc 50% aujourd'hui des médicaments dérivés du plasma proviennent de laboratoires privés fabriqués avec du plasma rémunéré auprès de donneurs étrangers, que ce soit en Allemagne, en Tchéquie ou principalement aux États-Unis.
D'accord.
Le plasma, on ne considère pas forcément que c'est fait pour faire des médicaments. Or, il y a des
Non,
gens,
du tout, ouais.
il y a des gens, il y a 500 000 patients en France qui vivent grâce à ces médicaments.
Est-ce que vous pouvez nous expliquer ce qu'Octa Pharma a changé?
C'est pas trop Octa Pharma qui a changé, c'est l'Europe qui s'est constituée. À partir du moment où on considère qu'une substance peut être qualifiée de médicament, la liberté de passage d'un pays à l'autre est acquise.
On a très peu de temps. Je pense que maintenant, au deuxième semestre, on va rentrer dans le vif du sujet avec l'entrée sur le marché. Personne, je dis bien personne, malgré les affirmations qu'on nous fait aujourd'hui, n'est en mesure de nous prouver que le plasma qui va servir à fabriquer ce plasma solvant détergent provienne de donneurs bénévoles.
Market liberalization, increased sanitary risks. What does Octa Pharma have to say in response to these fears? After many months of investigation and countless requests, the company still refuses any interview. We went to their headquarters located in Lachan, in the canton of Schwyz.
Je suis à votre siège de Lachan et j'aimerais beaucoup vous parler. Ah voilà, je crois que j'ai des collègues à vous qui arrivent là. Donc je vais parler avec eux et puis je vous rappelle. Je vous rappellerai, mais je pense que cette attitude est vraiment très regrettable.
The best thing to do is if you could leave the building at the moment, and then, as Thomas said, we will consider your questions and come back through the appropriate channel.
Okay, so you will answer my questions.
We will answer your questions.
You just said that. You will answer our questions.
Upon the police's request, our cameraman left the premises. The head of communications asked us to ask our questions in writing, promising us he'd pass them on to the shareholders. Clearly, nothing is decided without the approval of Marc Guerre, the founder and single owner of Octa Pharma. The company doors closed to us once more. We had a long list of questions, not only with regard to the sanitary risks, but also the company's methods. On the plasma market, Octa Pharma isn't the most important player, but its sales have already reached 1.5 billion euros and are soaring. Its business practices have often roused the authorities' suspicions.
Le politique au Portugal, l'ancien Premier ministre socialiste José Socrates, qui a dirigé le pays entre 2005 et 2011, a été inculpé et incarcéré. Il dort ce soir en prison pour corruption et fraude fiscale, un scandale financier sans précédent.
At the end of 2015, the former Portuguese prime minister was arrested for corruption. He allegedly received funds from Octa Pharma when he was a consultant in Brazil, where the Swiss company was involved in a huge case known as the Blood Vampire Scandal. Octapharma is suspected of bribing Ministry of Health officials. The case has still not been judged, and the company continues its activities in Brazil. Such political connections are worrying the French Donor Federation. Mosellier has first-hand experience of the Swiss company's sensibility over this matter.
Ma relation avec Octapharma a été un peu difficile en ce sens que nous nous sommes étonnés de la remise de la Légion d'honneur à Wolfgang Marguer par la ministre de la Santé, en l'occurrence Roselyne Bachelot à l'époque. Et M. Marguer a décidé de porter plainte contre nous, la fédération, contre moi personnellement et mon collègue président de la fédération à cette époque-là, pour avoir porté atteinte à son image personnelle et à l'image de ses entreprises. Donc on a vu débarquer à nos domiciles 6 personnes, un huissier, un officier de police, 2 gendarmes, un serrurier et un informaticien, pour aller voir dans nos ordinateurs si nous ne portions pas atteinte à l'intégrité et à l'image de M. Marguer et de ses entreprises. Il y a eu un procès à la 17e chambre correctionnelle de Paris et M. Marguer a été débouté de sa plainte et a été condamné aux dépens du procès.
De quoi il avait peur précisément?
De peur d'une perte de chance en matière commerciale, c'est-à-dire de dire que ce que l'on avançait n'était pas forcément exact et que ça pouvait porter atteinte en termes commerciaux au développement de ces entreprises.
When we visited the headquarters, Octapharma promised answers to our questions. A few weeks later, the head of communications informed us that none of them would be answered, without explaining why. There was only one solution left: travel to Heidelberg, Wolfgang Marguer's home.
Hallo?
Ja, guten Morgen. Ich möchte mit Herrn Wolfgang Marguer sprechen, bitte.
Wer sind Sie?
Ich bin François Pilet, ich bin ein Journalist. Hallo? Hallo?
Wolfgang Marguer was incommunicado. He asked the police to let us know.
Guten Tag.
Möchten Sie bitten, dass Sie die Kamera bitte ausmachen? Ja. Können Sie sie bitte ausmachen? Translation, please.
Il demande d'éteindre la caméra.
Do I have to? Yes, please.
Wir sind auf der Straße.
So our questions will remain unanswered. The origin of the plasma, its payment, the risks linked to donor poverty, drug detection, and the likelihood of new epidemics. Why doesn't Octapharma provide any answers to the questions of Tamara and thousands of patients? On Cleveland sidewalks, these questions seem derisory. Selling their plasma will always be a lesser evil to those with no choice. For as long as people in Europe and elsewhere need plasma, the pharmaceutical industry will meet their demand.
Just America. Everything is a big corporation out here. And without money, nothing moves. You see, when the market crashes, everything shuts down. No government checks. So what can we do? Octoplasma might still be running. Let's go get a couple dollars out of them right quick. Tap this arm real good. Let's give them what they want so we go get what we want. Oh, fuck.
Mark was relieved. He could finally give his plasma, and he received $20.
How was your blood pressure?
It was pretty good. I wrote it down. It was less than yesterday. So, you know, it was 129/82, which is pretty good.
Okay. What are you going to do now? Do you want to go home and rest?
Yeah, I pretty much want to take it slow. I don't know, I was thinking about it. Maybe go home and regroup. Might take a quick power nap. you know, that kind of thing.
Mark and Tamara are connected by an invisible thread. The plasma industry means their distress is inseparable.
Wenn man Kollegen treffen will, sicher genau dann geht es einem nicht gut. Entweder ist man krank oder man hat so Schmerzen, dass man dann nicht gehen kann. Aber die Familie ist immer da und das ist das Wichtigste für mich.
Et finalement, c'est l'exploitation de l'homme par l'homme. Le terme qui est utilisé par certains, c'est le nouveau cannibalisme. Et si l'on n'est pas prudent et qu'on accepte une dérive éthique par rapport à ce que c'est que le don, le bénévolat, si l'on accepte de marchander le corps, alors oui, on est capable de tout faire.
The shift is already a reality. The blood of the poor going into the veins of the rich.
Go get your bride.